Can you hear me? Am I connected?
Okay, welcome to the December 5th, 2024 Reorganization School Board meeting. Tonight we will begin with item 1.01, roll call. Mr. Brink?
Here.
Mr. Dean?
Here.
Ms. Philbeck?
Here.
Mr. Kobilka?
Here.
Mr. Lindner?
Present.
Ms. Newsham?
Here.
Ms. Pasquale?
Here.
Mr. Winchell?
Here.
Mrs. Winchell?
Here.
Dr. Kavanaugh?
Present.
And Attorney Herzing?
Here.
Okay, next item 1.02, approval of the agenda. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. 1.03, Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Okay. 2.01, visitors. Do we have any visitors who would like to speak to the board this evening? Okay. So that moves us to 3.01, election of temporary president. We need a holdover board member to give a motion for a temporary president.
I'll nominate Jason Dean for the temporary president. Put that in form of a motion.
Second.
Any other nominations? Okay, we'll close the nominations. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. So 3.02, election of school board president for 2025. I'd like to make a motion. We open nominations for school board president for 2025. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So I'd like to make a motion that we nominate Gary Winchell for president.
Second.
Remind me how we we just vote on this and then we vote on yes or no?
You vote on that.
We do other nominations also, or we just vote on this and then all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any other nominations for president? Okay, do we close it now or do we vote on it?
You vote on it.
Vote on this and then, okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, President Winchell.
Okay, thank you all for your confidence. A lot of work to do next year, so let's get to it. So 3.03 is the election of the vice president for 2025. So at this point, I'd like to take nominations for the vice president for 2025. Do I hear any nominations?
Nominate Mr. Linder.
Okay, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a nomination, we have a second. Any discussion, I guess, or no discussion? So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Okay, that motion passes. And guess any other nominations? Okay, hearing none. So that's all we do. We're done? Okay, thanks, Mike. Congratulations. Looking forward to working with you again. Okay, appointment of PSBA representative and legislative chairperson. Currently, we have Mr. Brink in that position. And this is something that is appointed, doesn't require a vote. So I guess, Wade, I just ask if you'd like to do it again, or would you like someone else to
Sure, I can do it.
do it again? Okay. Wade will be our PSBA representative. We go on to the appointment of Mill Creek Education Foundation non-voting trustee. This also does not require a vote. Jason Dean, it currently holds the position. Jason, would you like to do it, or would anyone else like to be the liaison for this coming year?
I think we had others that were interested. This is 2 years for me and maybe others to fill that.
Okay.
President Winchell, if no one else is, I would like to be considered for that role. I think that the MEF's a great organization and I'd like an opportunity to work with them and continue to build that relationship.
Yep, I know you put a lot of time in over the past year with the Gus Anderson project. Anyone else would be interested in that appointment or satisfied with Mr. Linder taking that position? Okay, Mike, you liaison for MEF. So if you want to reach out to Chris Huber and let her know that, would be great. 4.03, appointment of the board member to a Township Park and Rec. Currently, we have Sally Newsham and Sue Ellen Pasquale. Sally, and I know we have two positions for that. Doesn't not require a vote. You interested in maintaining those appointments, or would you like to?
That's fine, yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. And I am the appointee liaison for the IU5, and I think my term is still for a few years. So that's not why it's not on the agenda this evening. So I'll maintain that position as well. Okay, 5.01 CHA design agreement. I'll turn that over to Mr. O'Toole, Mike Galler, and Dr. Kavanaugh.
Thank you. We kindly request that the vote on the CHA agreement be tabled as we begin our fundraising efforts. Our preference is to design the project with both current and future needs in mind while ensuring that the facility is aesthetically pleasing for the community. This adjustment will result in a delay of approximately 1 year for construction and will necessitate that the district allocates additional resources to the bleachers to ensure a safe environment for our spectators.
Okay, Mike, any comments to supplement that or nothing? Dr. Kavanaugh? Nothing? Okay, so with that, the administration asked us to table this. So
President Winchell will make a motion to table 5.01.
okay, to have a second to table it. And remember, once it's tabled, there's no discussion. So have a second to table it? Second. Okay. Let's do a roll call vote.
Mr. Brink,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Ms. Philbeck,
Yes.
Mr. Kobilka,
Yes.
Mr. Lindner,
Yes.
Ms. Newsham,
Yes.
Ms. Pasquale,
Yes.
Mr. Winchell,
Yes.
Mrs. Winchell.
Yes.
Okay, that is motioned and I'm sure that you'll keep us posted in future committee meetings.
Yes.
Thank you for taking the time and effort. 5 point, which leads to the next item, 5.02, the MTSD Capital Fundraising Foundation. Mr. O'Toole.
Yes, this motion's to approve the upfront fees to establish a legal entity for a separate foundation with its sole mission to focus on fundraising related to our facilities. Specifically, extracurricular is the focus at this moment in time.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept 5.02?
Motion?
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Do we have a ballpark idea what kind of costs will be involved?
Yeah, $4,500, which is what the request is to spend right
Okay,
now.
I'm sorry.
It's on the
I'm
motion.
sorry, I didn't see that.
Yep.
Thank
And that's working with our solicitor and Knox Law Firm.
The Knox Law Firm, and
Okay.
taking this, it would establish an EIN number as well as work through to establish a certified 501c3. So all the legal steps, both from a federal and state perspective.
Okay. And then will it be, Dr. Kavanaugh, the business office determining the, once that's approved, the structure and creating the board and things like that?
For the moment in time, I mean, we'll have to establish some bylaws
Okay.
associated with that. The legal entity itself
Yeah.
that will define, and we'll be bringing that back forward to show the investment, the $4,500 investment, what those bylaws look like exactly for this board to review. But in the meantime, for what's needed in order to establish that legal entity, Dr. Kavanaugh and myself will take the reins in terms of getting it established, and
Yeah.
then they can be amended as needed in the future.
Okay. Yep. I'm sure you'll give us updates through the informational items on the different committees. Okay.
I have a question. So you're going to have to create a set of bylaws. Who approves those bylaws for the original organization?
So I believe that in order to establish the 501c3, you're going to have those defined already. So throughout the month of December, give or take, we'll work with the Knox Law Firm to establish what those bylaws would look like exactly. If we need to amend those, we could do so in the January, February timeframe as we're going forward. So for the time being, to getting a starting place, internally administration will be working on those bylaws,
What role does the board play?
as well as regarding establishing the bylaws as they exist. What role would the board like to play in establishing those bylaws?
I guess part of my concern is how are we picking people to be board members? What are the bylaws going to say? Is this organization going to be completely independent? Is it going to be an appendage of the district? Are they going to have district paid employees being the fundraiser? Are they going to have district space? What is the outlay of the district regarding supporting this foundation? Those are like the big things that we haven't talked about yet.
Understood. And the individuals who are interested that we've spoken to from the community would be doing this on their own time. So I think we're at the initial stages of trying to establish the legal entity itself, which in turn would be separate from the district. Working through establishing an EIN number, et cetera. I mean, it will be legally its own separate entity at that moment in time. In terms of how the board members are established, I mean, many of those different questions we'll probably work through in the month of December to try to establish what that exactly will look like. And then as well as with some of the community members who are interested in this and have experience with fundraising, allowing them to have some input as well.
They're doing this on their own time. Who's ultimately responsible for their conduct and how we accept gifts? Who's going to be the authorized person to accept gifts on behalf?
That is, at the end of the day, how you're going to be able to accept gifts is defined by the IRS in order to maintain your 501c3 status. So there are certain aspects of this that we're not going to control at all regardless. In regards to the additional components that are more flexible in nature that aren't defined by the IRS, again, I would stand behind, we need to establish the board and kind of work through those details. We're not there yet.
Maybe you're gonna have obviously some amount of time till all this gets approved at. Maybe you have a steering committee or something just to kind of craft some thoughts or ideas around that. You know, there's a lot of moving parts there, I'm sure, but I'm sure Knox had a lot of experience in setting these up. As long, you know, clearly what the mission is and then kind of craft a team around that. But yeah, I know there's a lot of moving parts around that. So a lot of discussion, I'm sure.
I agree, there's a lot of moving parts. Feel like as a board, us saying yes tonight, we are giving them complete control over how this entire thing is going to be set. We are done with the process. I would like to know I would prefer them to say, here is our full plan. Here are the tentative bylaws. Here is what we're going to do. Here is what we envision this. Here's where we're going to have the group work from. More cohesive structure of a concept. Right now, you're just saying, let us get the tax number and we'll figure it all out. And I believe you will figure it out, but I would have preferred if we would have figured it out, then asked us to approve the program. I don't necessarily think that we're slowing it down. I just think that we're giving away our authority as the board, as any controls, whether or not we agree with what they set up.
Mm-hmm.
Our only role here is to approve the expenditure. And once we're done there, we're done.
So please keep in mind, it's going to be its own legal entity at the end of the day, and the board, much like a booster club, is going to have minimal authority over that anyhow. So in terms of the structure, any board that is established within this entity could modify bylaws for whatever is created initially, as you're going forward with that. So while understanding that we don't have a full plan that is being presented here today, that plan after the entity is established could be completely shredded and created a different one after that fact. Because again, it is its own legal entity at the end of the day.
I mean, I guess we really don't have much control over the MAF.
No, but that lends itself to the concept of what type of board. It could theoretically say, we're going to create a board where the superintendent's going to be the president of this foundation and one board member, and that it takes so many votes to change the bylaws. They could set this in any way they want. So yes, any board could shred it, but if you set your organization up in the way you vision it, then you're going to put it on the path that you want it to be successful in.
And I would also caution, should the board want to have more significant say in this, I would be consistent that we're going to need to be more consistent say in all booster clubs as well. Is this going to be rather comparable?
I would argue one is talking about raising millions of dollars. Booster clubs are not in that range of funds, nor do booster clubs support capital projects. So there's definitely a magnitude of scale that is significantly different here, that will have a ramification on our structural budget.
Is it possible to have this new 501c3 foundation have a number of members, including all 9 of the school board members? Is there a reason that the school board members can't be part of this?
I mean, we're at the initial stages of this. I don't see why that wouldn't be the case to start off. But again, after it's established and however that board seems to move in that direction,
I
that
tend
may
to
not
agree
be
with,
forever. I'm not going to speak on behalf of a future board that I don't know what those actions would be.
I tend to agree with Mr. Linder about that, you know, this could be many millions of dollars, and it's relationships with some pretty big corporations and such that we would be going after. So, you know, maybe that would be the right thing, is to have all of the school board members be part of it. Just a thought.
Not clear as to why this would be anything different than what the foundation is, the Mill Creek Foundation, that we do have a liaison with, and it is good to have communication with them, but I'm not sure that this is part of what we are supposed to be doing.
This ideally, the structure would be very similar. I mean, the idea of this is being very similar to the foundation, with the exception of its sole mission is to fundraise for facilities.
Is there
So
a
I-
reason that the foundation can't do this without starting something else and just have them take on the task of getting this? I don't know.
That has been a
Yeah.
conversation has been ongoing for many months. I think that there are challenges between the organizations with regard to how the project is structured, with what is a viable thing that they feel that they can fundraise for. I think there's a lot of issues out there that aren't resolved, that are holding us up in that regard. But to your point, Shirley, if we set it up exactly like the MEF, what's to say we don't have the same problem with this foundation that we supposedly have with the MEF, and why we're not being able to be successful there? Could walk the same path.
I don't think that it's a problem with the MEF. I think it is they've chosen a particular path and this is a different path. I don't think it's a problem at all. I think that it's a divide and conquer strategy. Here's a group that is going to be doing fundraising for capital projects, and they do fundraising for many other different things. I don't see them competing at all. I see them just two different paths.
I don't know if all 9 board members, I know we have a liaison, maybe 1 board seat. I mean, I'm on several other boards that, contribute quite a bit for other organizations. And we have maybe like one of our board members serves on that overall board. Like, I'm on the Agri board and we have someone on the Fly Erie board or something like that, just because we're such an integral part of it. So not so sure we need all 9, and that would be changing all the time, but maybe 1 liaison or maybe 1 appointment or something. And that's all going to be on the structure of the foundation, right? So, I've seen foundations like, do we want someone from the, Bell Valley area, Chestnut Hill area, like how county councils all split up, that's how Agri is created. They have a representative from every district, or every school or something like that. So to me, that's how it's all going to be, set up. But I don't know, 9 seems an awful lot.
I agree with you. 9 probably is a lot. But if we don't have the plan, we have no say in the matter after tonight. We have the say in whether or not they approve the expenditure to move forward. We can say that we'd like to understand how you want this envisioned. Otherwise, after we approve it, we can't make them put us on it. We can't make them change the process at that point, because our job is to approve expenditure.
You can't do any of that currently with the MEF either.
Julia, wouldn't that create an issue with the IRS looking at it as a separate nonprofit if it's really controlled by the school board?
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly a little outside of my practice area, but that was what I was contemplating and intending to ask my business folks when I go back to the law firm. I do think that that creates kind of a shell if all of you were on the board where it's you're a joint entity at that point.
Even if we have a control of it.
Right.
We certainly shouldn't have that.
So to me, I don't think it would be advisable to have all 9 board members. You also, then anytime that organization got together, we might have a Sunshine Act issue. So I wouldn't advise that. In terms of making it clear your desire, I think you can communicate that to them with the expenditure if the board is comfortable moving.
Yeah, I thought the $4,500 is more for the legal fees to, file with the IRS and the time to do that and have some basic thing. I assumed, and maybe I'm wrong here, or, that
No, you're
once that's
correct.
set up, then they'd come back and say, what do you want the bylaws to be as far as how do you want to create this,
You're correct.
foundation board and, things like that, kind of build it from there,
And in the meantime, I can't ask that question of my counterpart.
Thank you.
And then do you set it up that if that board ends up being dissolved, that their proceeds would come to us automatically, or you can't do that?
I'm sure it's all in the bylaws, Mike, how you set that up, I
I
guess.
was kind of wondering, because if it's independent and they raise $2 million and decide, well, you know, we're going
I'm
to.
sure that'd be the
Well,
best interest of the,
I think it would be
administration.
consistent with the mission of the organization. When you set up a 501c3, you have to state a mission and the expenditures have to go to the mission. So are you, you know, assuming that the mission is going to be to support the capital funding of the district, they're not going to be able to do something else with that money.
Like, I think, like with the volunteer fire departments in Mill Creek Township, they're designed that if they dissolve, it goes to the township.
Yeah, I'm sure that there is a legal
Mhm.
mechanism to do that. You have the wrong attorney to answer that, the details of that question.
Like, you probably should, just in case. 'Cause if
I
they-
didn't mean the wrong attorneys. I just meant the wrong attorney sitting in the seat.
Right, right. You know, but if it's not set up right and they go rogue and just say, hey, no, we're not going to give it to you. If we're our own entity, we'll do what we want to do.
Again, I think that is something that would need to be communicated to the attorney who is handling the setup. Who would
I
be?
can't remember. It's within the Knox Law Firm who
Okay, well-
specializes in doing this.
Yeah, short of listing everyone in my firm, which I won't do. So this conversation should be communicated back to that individual who I'll figure out after I leave here tonight. But other folks in my firm are adept at setting these up.
And another sub thought is the Erie Community Foundation already set up to do that? Because I know there's, you know, people donate to the Erie Community Foundations, but I believe there's segmented things there that are specific through the Erie Community Foundation. So I don't know if that's an avenue, but that would probably have strings attached and they would take a percentage of what is raised, because that's, I think, what they do. But it just came to my mind that
My experience with those sub-accounts at Erie Community Foundation, 'cause I'm familiar with that, is, yeah, they set up sub-accounts, but the Community Foundation controls the grant process. So, yeah, so you could name a Mike Kabelka fund, you know, but the Community Foundation would do the grant process. It has to grant the process. You're really out of it. You kind of make an irrevocable gift to them. And then, yeah, they charge a fee for that too, investment management fee and custodian fee on top of that. So
it's probably not a
you lose
direct road to go
control.
down.
Yeah, you basically give them the power to do that.
I feel confident that our superintendent and CFO can take this to the next step with that, with the best interest of the district in mind.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? Take a roll call vote just to approve the spending of the $4,500. Give the administration the ability to start a foundation for the sole mission of capital fundraising related to facilities.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Ms. Philbeck,
Yes.
Mr. Kobylka,
Yes.
Mr. Lindner,
No.
Ms. Newsham,
Yes.
Ms. Pasquale,
Yes.
Mr. Winchell,
Yes.
Mrs. Winchell,
Yes.
and Mr. Brink.
Yes.
The motion passes. And Aaron, just keep us informed there, you know, as we move forward.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Moving on to new business, item 6.01, meeting calendar and board meeting calendar for 2025. Can I have a motion to accept the meeting calendar and board meeting calendar for 2025?
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Okay, motion passes. Remarks. Any school board remarks?
This weather sucks. Put that in the record, please, and thank you.
Okay.
Any disagreement?
Well, we're in, you know,
I just wanted to thank Aaron and whoever else was involved in all of that redoing that you did. I'm feeling kind of badly. That was a lot of stuff that you got out in a couple days, and I'm sure not how you were expecting to spend the last couple days before Thanksgiving. So thank you.
I certainly appreciate the additional information as well. And I just wanted to thank the district for the handling of the last couple days with the weather and scheduling. I think a good job was done by all. I think there was a lot of commitment made and a lot of thinking, trying to see what was best for both students and staff, and we appreciate that.
Hats off, as I came down Kahi, the parking lot looked very clear over there at our complex. So I'm sure a lot of work went into that and such. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
And I'd just like to ask the board members, be looking at committees again, and if you'd like to be on a different committee, if you'd like to do something different, just email me so I can get it to Mackenzie and administration as we move forward. Our next committee meetings, January 13th. So, okay, Dr. Kavanaugh.
My brief first shout out is to our plow crew. I mean, our maintenance and custodial staff who started on the day after Thanksgiving and spent 4 days just to try to get us reopened on time and did a phenomenal job. Although we were not able to open on Monday and Tuesday, it had nothing to do with our buildings or our parking lots. So our guys did a great job on their own time. So I want to give them a shout out for doing that. I'd ask everybody else to be patient in the decisions that are made. They are not easy decisions. A lot of stuff goes into play to make the decision. My number one goal is to have our kids in the buildings whenever we can safely, because that's where the best education begins. Other than that, that's it for me this evening.
I do want to thank John and Aaron. They were in communication with me this morning. They were in the office at 6:30, 7 o'clock this morning. I know it's a tough decision, so thanks for taking the leadership role in that. Thanks. Hey, any other comments? Okay, moving on to 8.01 adjournment. As I said, the next committee of the whole meetings and committee meetings are January the 13th. That'll start at 6 o'clock, and January board meeting is the 27th. So with that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against
Aye.
nay. We're adjourned.